In this interview, I meet up with Ajah Mcnair, who is a YouTube content creator, mother, and an educational curriculum specialist. She believes that every parent has the capacity to establish lasting memories and shape the future of their kids. Let's welcome Ajah. Thank you so much, Ajah, for coming in today and doing this interview. I wanted to start by asking you, you're an educator and your perspective changed when you became a parent.
Yes.
And what was that shift? What was the change?
When I made that shift from just being an educator to a parent, the number one thing that kind of changed within myself was understanding. We always say, if the shoe fits on the other side, you hear these sayings, but it's totally different when you really go from one side to the next. Because as an educator, you always see, like amongst educators, we always are talking about, and you see, well, the parents need to do this, and if the parents did that, and it's almost like a blame game. But I was only on the educator's perspective. So I was like, parents do need to do more with their kids and blah, blah, blah. And then when I became a parent, working full time and being a mother and a wife, it became super overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this is why parents don't have time to just sit at home and spend hours, helping their kids. And this is why parents can't do this. And I was able to understand what my parents have been talking about this whole time. And so now, even being in education, when parents say like, oh, I'm trying to balance, I have 3 kids, and I'm more understanding, I'm more flexible. I meet parents where they are. I now kind of go out of my way to make sure they have everything. Yes. Versus before, I would just give a parent a resource. Now I'm printing the resource out. Yes. Because I know that they just don't have all the extra time that I thought they had.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing that really kind of changed in my perspective. Was I now understand, and I'm now willing to meet them halfway. Mm-hmm. I'm now willing to, go the extra mile so that each parent has what they need.
Yeah, that is cool. That's one thing that I as an educator myself, I noticed is that there's a lot of blame game happens in the education, right, in the world. It's like we're either pointing somewhere at something, right?
Right.
And then the kids get caught in the middle, the student, right? Most of the time, So it's good that you came to that realization very quickly when you became a parent.
Yes.
Because, and doing the changes to help them, right? I mean, it is hard when you have 3 kids, 3 different ways of learning, and then you have to manage life in that. It's just hard for them. And then COVID didn't make anything easy, did it?
No, it did not. No, it did not.
Just turned it upside down, right?
Right. And now the accountability is more on the parent. But even then, I can truthfully say I really understand, because I was working full time at home and my child's teacher was sending me stuff. I'm just going to be honest. We did all her work in one day. Mm-hmm. I wasn't doing that each day because I couldn't. I was working full time. And then when my boss wanted us to call and reach out to parents, and the parents were saying, I'm working, I was like, I get it. Me too. That's why my child is probably getting the bare minimum right now. So it's unfortunate, but yes. When I tell you I get it now, like I understand now.
Yes, so powerful, because that's the relationship that makes the teacher, the educator, the parent give the best opportunity for the child, right?
Yes. Yeah. When you're both on the same level, when you're able to kind of meet each other in the middle, I feel like that we always say I want to do what's best for the child, but it's not really until both parties come together that you really can do what's best for the child, because the parent's not always with the child and neither is the teacher. So you really need both parties to come together.
Yeah. Sometimes it also comes down to the administration. There's another party that gets involved as well.
I was going to say that too, because I know even me, like as being an administrator, a lot of times parents feel more comfortable coming to us than the teacher.
Teacher. Yeah.
And that's just kind of how, just kind of what has happened, you know, especially if it's a parent that has been there for a long time. We've
Yes.
developed that relationship. And a lot of times parents just don't want to offend the teacher.
Yes. Yes.
So
So
it's really
those all
like the
three.
administrator and the community, like everybody has to come together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those three people have to communicate proper. Otherwise, it just becomes you blaming the other party, right?
Right.
Whichever the way the finger turns. What do you believe is the best way to teach kids?
So really big on making fun experiences. I feel like that is the best way to teach kids. You know, somebody's always say that that's, you know, kinesthetic learners. Like a lot of kids learn by doing. Like
Yes.
if you really think about, you know, us, we're adults. Think back to our elementary days, back to our high school days, back to your middle school days. What was your favorite memory? And it was probably you doing something. Like I know for me, one of my experiences that shaped me who I am today, not was, but who I am, was in 5th grade. We actually did this. It was called Exchange City, and we practiced for it all year. So we learned how to write a checkbook. We started our own business. We had to elect a mayor. I mean, we learned how to do checks and balances and the whole shebang. And then at the end of the year, we went downtown on a field trip, and we got to be the person that we wanted to be. And that experience will always stick with me. But you don't really remember doing worksheets, and like all of that stuff doesn't really shape a child. But it's really those projects and kind of hands-on learning. So even me as a teacher, I'm always giving projects and different hands-on learning, even teaching social studies. Like I don't really do workbooks and worksheets. I used to always make my kids do different skits, and I was really big on technology. So they would have to like interact and record themselves doing different things on different apps. And they'll like, hopefully they can say the same thing, you know, when they're an adult, and they can say, hey, Miss Brandon shaped me for be who I, you know, that's my maiden name. But Miss Brandon helped me become who I am today through all those fun experiences. I used to have a project pretty much every month. It was a different full-blown project, but my parents appreciated it, and I was always giving the kids opportunity to do the project at school so that everybody had the opportunity. But that is really sticks with a child.
Yeah.
And then kids are really learning without even really realizing that they're learning, because they think it's having fun.
Yeah.
So they're actually learning life skills in a fun way, and then it doesn't seem like work.
Yes.
And that's part, like even on my YouTube content, I want to create those fun memories, because even as adults, it's those fun memories that you really remember that actually shapes who you are. Like it's not the kill and drill flashcards and notebooks. That's not really kind of how we learn, especially these kids nowadays, because everything is fast paced, and it's almost like a instant gratification generation. They have things at the tip of their fingertips. They're not used to waiting. So in order to really kind of stay afloat with that, you have to get them doing something. Like they have to be completely engaged in order to really hold whatever information it is that you're trying to teach them. I know for like my child, we're always singing and dancing and playing games, and that's the only way she really remembers stuff, like how to spell her name. We just talked about, you know, COVID. They, instead of teaching her how to count to 30 seconds, we learned a song. You know, this girl still sings a song every time she washes her hands, because it became a fun experience with her. So she wants to, you know, kind of replicate that every time she washes her hand. But that's just literally how kids are. They'll continue to replicate it and hold on to those memories if you give them those fun experiences to learn.
And that's what you do with your YouTube channel.
Yes.
You get to have fun. You get to have fun.
I even wore my Parenting the Fun Way shirt.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
So, yeah, so my YouTube channel literally is me kind of helping parents teach their kids through fun and education. So the same experiences I was just talking about, I'm helping parents develop. So it doesn't seem like work, but to be honest, you don't want your child growing up and saying the only person that really influenced them was their teacher.
Mm.
And as a teacher, I used to love that. But then as a parent, I'm like, oh, there's, like I said, that other side to it. Like, I want to have just as much of a hand in my child's education
Yeah.
as the teacher, because it is a partnership. It's not just on one. And
Yes.
that was kind of the big, um, one of the motivating factors within me wanting to do it.
But I think you also enjoy fun.
I do enjoy fun.
And you wanted to, but it is so important, right? When you start having fun, it's so hard to let it go.
It is.
It's beautiful to play, like, you're bringing, your videos, you make everything into a fun activity with the child, or what age group is it for, like, right now,
The,
what
my
your
YouTube
videos? Yeah.
for early education,
Yeah.
so elementary age.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, so
I
early education
Nice. So why is it important to facilitate social emotional well-being?
is very important, especially at that early elementary age, because that's when you really shape a child. So building their self-esteem, building their problem solving skills is really what they need in order to be a successful adult.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to have that ideal adult that is going to shape the future, make decisions, because when we get older, it's this next generation that is going to be in charge.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to build problem solvers that are confident in who they are, they do have to become knowledgeable and experts in something. It's a
Mm-hmm.
big push on, you don't have to go to college, but you do have to be an expert in something.
Mm-hmm.
um so in order to do that, you do have like the learning side. So that is one part. We were talking earlier, even of my YouTube, trying to really kind of develop those experts. But another side is you do need healthy human beings that are able to articulate ideas, that are able to do problem solving. And honestly, you can't focus on the academics. A kid can't focus on academics or learn if they're being abused, if they're being neglected, if
Mm-hmm.
they feel unloved. Half the times we have behavior problems is because that child is seeking attention, and it falls down between social and emotional. Like, they are missing something, and
Mm-hmm.
they're going to get that attention. They're going to get whatever it is they're lacking, they're going to get it even in a negative way.
Yes.
So even like when I run across kids that, you know, they seem like they are lacking something based on behaviors. So I always try to build a relationship with them
Yeah.
and try to figure out what I can do to help fill that void. I know I'm not, look, none of us are perfect. I can't just come into a child's life and fill the void, but I can help or help contribute to that.
Yeah.
So that is really why I believe the social and emotional well-being of even a toddler or preschooler is very important, because that is when we're truly shaping that child. And they're not able to learn, math skills, reading skills, all the stuff that they need to be knowledgeable, like we said, in order to have a stable life as an adult. They're missing all of that if they're not paying attention while they're young, because they are lacking something when it comes to social and emotional health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. You're a curriculum specialist, right, at school?
Correct.
That you do.
Correct.
So with the YouTube stuff, are you like taking those curriculums and making them fun? Because curriculum is never fun, right? It's not fun. So is that what you're trying to do? Make it into fun activities for kids?
Yes, make it into fun and obtainable activities, stuff that parents can actually do. I feel like, as educators will throw 20 different things out at a
Mm.
parent, and realistically, a parent, you have to show them how to do it. That's why I really like the video aspect of it, because I'm able to show parents. I just got a comment today from a young lady. She was like, "This is amazing. You're teaching me
Nice.
how to teach my child."
Nice.
Simple ways, with just some paint and a Ziploc bag. But I'm taking pretty much what the standards are. For example, I do have a video coming up on Zoom games that you can do for the kindergarten age group.
Yes.
And I literally looked at the big standards for kindergarten and created games that kids can do virtually.
Yes.
So that will help. I know a lot of parents, believe it or not, right now aren't with their kids because they've sent, because we're working. So they're having to send their kids somewhere else. So hopefully that these online games will even help one build a bond, because I'm all about building stronger families, because those stronger families is what's going to build a healthier child, and that's what's going to build a child that has no lack in social and emotional health. So it kind of like all connects.
It can.
But yeah, so I do take those standards and think of realistic, fun things that parents can do at home.
Yeah. Same. I'm very much similar to you in the way that I do it with math.
With math, yes.
With math, because math is so dry and everybody usually hates it, right? When they come to me, they usually, 100% of the time they hate it. That's why they come to me, right? Because they're needing the help. So I need to make it fun. Otherwise, there's no way that I can teach anything, right? Nothing's going to go through the head. It's just like, whatever, right? So I make it fun. And one of the things that I'm creating right now, and I've done it in a little different, but it's called, I'm still deciding on the name. Either it's ditch the worksheet or skip the worksheet. So I'm not sure yet which one's going to work.
I like that.
Yeah. So same as like you're taking the curriculum and getting the standards out of it, but making it fun. And right, like just it's still there, you're hitting the milestone or you're checking the box, right? In the curriculum, the kids got this, but through fun, which is very important. Very, very important. Cool idea. So why creating memory is so important when kids are so young? I think you've kind of explained that. What's the benefit of that is?
Yeah, it builds stronger family bonds that is going to actually last throughout that child's life. A big part of the whole fun aspect with family time is it actually helps a child's self-esteem and gives them a positive sense of self-worth. I don't think parents understand just that valuable family time. If you just do my games once a week, just one Saturday, maybe Saturdays or Saturday evening, or maybe Sunday evening is your family time, you knock it out. For your kid, that is going to literally develop who they are by giving them that self-worth. It also helps build happy memories so that, we, unfortunately, things are going to happen. It's life, So when you have like traumatic incidences in a child's life, the happy memories will overpower that. And so basically what you're doing is kind of filling their brain with more happy memories. So they're not going to remember the negatives as much. So when they look back on their childhood, they'll remember the fun memories versus the traumatic memories. And that's really just kind of how the brain works when it comes to the certain memories that it holds on or the certain memories that it doesn't. So I want to fill those brains with happy memories. And it also will promote positive behaviors. Because like we said earlier, getting attention, a kid can get attention in both a positive or negative way. So if a kid is lacking in attention or something and you go ahead and implement these creating memories while they're young, what they're going to do is not do the negative activities, but instead, negative behaviors, but instead do positive behaviors. And then those positive behaviors will become habits. Now we're making better citizens because they'll be able to make better decision making because they don't have that negative connotation when it comes to decision makings and behaviors and so forth.
Yes. You're a happy person. Did your parents make happy memories?
Well, my grandmother was really big on games. I think that's what made me fall in love with games.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't a big gamer. The only game she liked to play was Connect 4, and she never let me win, ever. But my grandmother used to do games all the time. Probably not as many games as I do. But just about every time I went, which is pretty much, after school, every few days, she would always whip out a game. And you don't even realize, like, even in playing Skippo was one of her favorite games. But we were constantly sequencing numbers. Parents don't even realize it. Like those simple things, like I was just having fun with my grandma, not even realizing it, that I was learning. And even other games such as like Tripoli, she used to love playing that. But it taught me how to problem solve, and that logic, and the ability to be able to problem solve and strategize and playing a game really helps you problem solve and strategize as an adult. So I really think a lot of the way I think happened because I used to play so many games with my grandma. So maybe that's led me to being such a happy person.
Yeah, but look at you, right? What are you talking about? You're not talking about some worksheet you did in the classroom, are you? You're
Right.
talking about your grandma playing games with you. And
Mm-hmm.
that taught you valuable skills, right?
Yeah.
That's what your kid is going to do, and the other kids that you're helping is going to do too, right?
Yes.
Really true. It's not the worksheets, because there's a lot of parents, I mean a part of a lot of groups and stuff. They always say, what worksheet should I get? Where should I get the worksheet? Can you give me some worksheets, Kohila? Like, especially for math, right? But they're very concerned. Are they going to cover all the grounds, right? So during COVID, parents were looking for worksheets. But the problem is, I know, like, sometimes you're working and you can't get all that. You can't do it with them, right? Sometimes
Right.
there's no
Right.
time. Of course there's no time. But even then, even getting if you have 2-3 kids to play, and sometimes they might fight and we'll have another issue there, but whatever it is, but the worksheet, it is good for some things, but it doesn't really drill or create that memory ever for you,
Right. And
right?
then like I tell teachers, I'm like, worksheets aren't bad, but it's how you use them.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do a worksheet, because like you said, some worksheets do have their benefits, and the main benefit is because it covers the standard.
Mm-hmm.
That's the primary focus. Okay, well, what can we do to make that fun? So even whenever I did worksheets, I would always cut them up, make them into different scavenger hunts. I've kept my Easter eggs. We used to do Easter egg hunts, and the kids had to find the question and the answer and like match it up. I've created so many games with worksheets as a teacher because I didn't want my kids sitting there doing worksheets.
Worksheets.
So, and they probably don't know to this day that was really just a worksheet, but it was
Cut
in
up.
a game. So you just think it's a problem to a game.
Yeah.
But it's really how you use it. And I just feel like worksheets have been misused for years.
Yes.
A lot of school systems, and you might have seen that where you are, started banning worksheets.
Yeah.
But then it was like, but then the teachers didn't know, well, what do I teach? Where do I get the problems from? And it kind of forced teachers to be a little creative. But now worksheets are kind of coming back into education, slowly but surely. They're coming back. But I think it's just really like on a parenting and education side to remember that is what you do with them. Like the whole purpose of a worksheet is to have problems already made to help cover the standard. That's pretty much it.
Yes.
So what can you do with that to create a lasting memory? Because the worksheet alone is not going to get a child to remember that standard. So what can I do with that worksheet that's fun, bring it in fun, in order for that kid to remember it, they have to do something fun with it. Because if they're not doing anything fun with it, they're going to forget that worksheet in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Your mission is to make that easy for the parents. And my mission is to make that easy for parents, because we both know how hard it is.
Yes.
We've been on the other side, both sides, right?
Right. I think being on both sides is really important, because I don't think you can bridge that gap if you haven't been on both sides, because it's such a blame game.
Yes.
When it comes with education, it is such a blame game.
Yeah.
So until you have done both sides, you can't really kind of help bridge the gap. And that is really one of the driving forces to why I wanted to start my YouTube channel. Because when I became a parent and I was doing the stuff with my kid, her school, like other parents started asking me, and I had other like asking me, well, what can I do? What can I do? And I realized I was doing it for parents at my job. I'm like, these parents, now that I'm on the parenting side, I'm like, it's not that they don't know how to do things. I mean, it's not that they don't want to do it. It's that they don't know how. And on the teacher perspective, we just think they just don't want to do it.
They
but
don't
they
care.
do want to do it. They didn't go to school for this. We went to school for this. I have 3 degrees. I have my specialist. I went to school. I went to school multiple times, for this. In curriculum and early education. I have my reading specialist and I have my math. So it's like I've gone to school a plethora amount of times to learn how to teach kids, but these parents, they haven't. And the last time they saw this math was when they were in elementary school. And let's be honest, it was one way of doing addition back then.
Yes.
Now it's like 20
Common
ways of
Core.
doing addition.
It's Common
So,
Core.
yes. So they really don't know. I have no idea what these kids are going to come to school after COVID, because I know parents are going back. So this is how I learned. This is how you add, and that's it.
Yeah.
But these parents don't really have that knowledge. So understanding the gap and kind of being in the middle in order to bridge the gap, that's literally my job. And I've made it my mission, and I made it my YouTube mission to build stronger families through fun and education. In order to bridge that gap, to teach them how to do it in a way that will shape the future with kids. So
Yeah.
one of the things I know that kind of made me go into my role as an administrator, because I was kind of sad to leave the classroom, but I was like, well, now so part of being the curriculum specialist is I teach teachers how to teach the kids. Like, that's my whole job. I go in classrooms, give them feedback, make the teacher better, which makes the child learn more. And, so it's kind of like a domino effect. And, in my mind, I'm like, I'm able to reach more kids this way.
Yes.
And so now, like, when I started my YouTube channel, and now my kind of life is kind of veering more towards that, it's like, well, now I get to help more kids through helping their parents, because the teachers do have the knowledge, but the parents don't. And if I can help, just a handful of parents in shaping the future with their child, then that's it right there. That's literally a
Your
whole
mission is
generation.
accomplished.
Yeah, right? Like, they're going to grow up saying, man, my mom, they're going to remember all the memories that they built with their mom and their dad or grandma, auntie, whoever it is. Yes. They're going to hold on to those memories. And just to know, like, that mom, dad, auntie, whoever was watching my YouTube channel to get the ideas, like, that's what excites me. So,
I think even if you give teachers a lot of training and stuff, because of the number of students they have, and they are still, under the curriculum spell, they have to deliver it before the end of the year. So they don't have this, let's just go hunting, or, you did it. It can be done, but you can't, they always feel like, how many of those can I do? What if I can get all of this curriculum done by the end of the year if I start playing games and stuff? There's that time limitation, right? That's
right.
That's a factor there, right? So that's why what you're doing is going to be actually the better way, is to give each of the parents the how part, and they can start working with their kids at home, and they're one-on-one, or a couple of the kids if they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they're also they will know how their child learns. Whereas the teacher, even if she does know how they learns, but then she has 20 of them, 27 of them sometimes, right? It's impossible to make it individualized like a parent can make it. So yeah, it's powerful stuff. I love YouTube. I mean, you can just learn a world of stuff on that, right?
Mm-hmm. That's my best friend. I'm always, learning things on YouTube.
Yeah. But I want to share with you one thing, like you mentioned about this pointing figure. So when I was a teacher, and then I started my tutoring business as a math tutor, what happened is I would get students, and then this blame, right? Like I saw this blame, so I kind of almost felt like I was in a 4-pointed diamond kind of a shape, where we have this one point is like the administration, the other point is like the teacher, and the other point is like the parent, and then the last point is me that comes into this equation, and the child is in the middle. And each of them at that point, when they came to me, were pointing at each other and pointing at each other every direction. Because when they come to a tutor, now I'm a coach, but that time when they came to me, they were looking for a magic pill from me to solve those blaming games that were going on. And the amount of time I get with the students, you know how tutoring is, you bring the kid in and you're like, solve it, like pretty much you
Right.
help with the homework. You cannot solve more than that. So that's how I evolved into a coach, because the those students needed more than homework help. They were emotionally damaged because a lot of blaming was going on, and we don't think about how much it gets that kid get damaged in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? The more they are lost in classroom, the more damaged they are, right? So we have to fix that before you
Right.
can actually work with it. So in my work, so that diamond stays in my head all the time. Whenever anyone brings their kid, it's like these three parties are like a lot of the time at conflict. They're not
Right.
working together to help the kid. That's why they reach out for the last part, is the tutor. And then tutor doesn't necessarily help in that area. They could help bring the mark up, probably sometimes happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the kid is really struggling, it's hard for a tutor to bring that up, right? So that's
Right.
how they create that dependent learner, because then they
Mm-hmm.
start doing it for them, doing it for them, and then they become a dependent learner with worksheets, of course.
Yeah. I'm
But
hoping, like, even just hearing, your testimony, that I'm a very optimistic person, if you can't tell.
yes, yes,
But I'm really praying and hoping that after COVID we
yes,
see a change. Like,
yes,
there is no more blame. Like, the parents get to say, oh, now I see what it's like to be on the educators. And also parents will say, I can help do this with my child. Like, I know even the point you're trying to help parents make that decision where, can you homeschool or do you send your child back? But I think now we're getting parents that are saying, I can do this.
yes,
Or like they're building those bonds with their kids. Like, they're hopefully by now, we've been in it a few months. Like, they know how their child learns.
yes.
And their child is able to see them now as um, a figure that helped shape them,
Mm-hmm.
and not just a mom that helped discipline them or a
Mm-hmm.
dad that helps discipline them. They're
Mm-hmm.
able to say, oh, my parent helped shape me into who I am. And so hopefully now parents get to see the educator side, and I pray that educators get to see the parent side, because a lot of educators have now been at home with their kids. So now they're seeing working and dealing with the child at the same time, like literally at the same time. Like, you're on the computer for 12 days and you had your child right there, And so now they're able to say, oh, parents do deal with a lot. Like, I'm asking, because like I said, for my child, her teacher was asking me to do stuff. So I just hope that being optimistic that even in the midst of a pandemic, that gap will kind of close, going back to being understanding of the other role. And then administrators become empathetic to both sides and what they've gone through. And hopefully, when we get back together, all three parties can come together and create a better system for education than what we've had in the past.
And for the student, right?
Right. Because
Yeah,
that's what's best for them.
that's what the best is for.
Parties to be on one
Yes,
accord.
all of you working, all of us working together in a collaboration, and it makes their life easy because no one is pointing fingers. That doesn't solve problem, it just
Okay.
diffuses it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
never gets solved. Just
Right.
stays along. But I have to ask, is your daughter okay? Like I haven't heard from her, but
Yes. So
okay, good. I'm just worried.
but she got really quiet. No, my husband, I don't know if you heard him, but my husband came home,
Oh,
grabbed her.
oh, okay, okay,
He
perfect.
came at the perfect time.
So I'm so worried. Where did she go?
Came home, grabbed her, and took her out. So
Mm.
yeah, we're good.
Yes, I agree that that change is what I pray and hope for too, and that's one of the things that I always wanted to happen, and that's why I think even though COVID has brought in so many bad stuff to us, the whole world, every one of us, right, it turned upside down the lives, but there is some positive. I think it's about reflecting, pausing and reflecting, and then moving forward with the better plan. And that's
Right,
the aim of this summit as well, for parents to not to say, I just have traditional education to send them to, that's the only place that they can learn. No, there's other options.
there's a
You just have to research and work, get knowledgeable about it, and then choose what works for your family and your child, right? So it's
right,
all there. So that's the mission behind this summit, and having you all, even you, like saying like how important to have fun while you learn. It's just It's just a different story, right? And a
Right.
lot of people say my child's not motivated. They don't have they don't want to do anything. They're stubborn. They're lazy. Sometimes parents have been saying over the COVID, I've heard, right? But that's because they don't think it's fun,
Right.
right? When it's not fun, no one wants to do it. I mean, sometimes we don't even want to do it. I mean, right?
Right.
Like it's just, if it's not some kind of like, you have to inspire them to want to do it. And that's the name of the game, the fun part. You can bring,
Yes.
yeah, bring it in, right? What excites you as a content creator of learning through fun?
What really excites me is the impact of how many families and kids I'm able to help. Um, like I shared earlier, like I kind of do it at my job, and you get a little bit of those happy moments. But what excites me as a content creator is there's more happy moments than what I see in the classrooms, because parents are coming directly back to me because it's online. They're able to kind of like share. Like I tried that. Like just yesterday, I had a mom saying, "All right, so I bought my trifold board because she saw my learning board video."
Mhm.
And she's like, "I want to do a learning board for my kid." And like those are the moments that excite me. Or when somebody says, like, I played these games and this happened. And just people, just families kind of coming together,
Mhm.
doing exactly what I've, kind of shared that my mission is. And when you're able to see those little happy moments and people sharing those happy moments, that's what really excites me and kind of keeps me going.
Mhm.
Because I think like most of us that are in our field, at least in education, want to make a difference.
Yep.
And what I'm doing is kind of different than what most educators do, because most educators focus on making a difference in the classroom, and I'm trying to make a difference beyond the classroom.
Yeah.
So even like that's a different aspect, but it's still one and the same because it's all benefiting the child. So
Mhm.
that's really what's really excites me is how kids and families are able to spend more time together
Mhm.
and build lasting memories and learn, like literally learn through fun. So even as parents decide either to homeschool or send their kid at home, hopefully they still take accountability and ownership over their role in making those memories with the kids, because these memories can be completely formed with your kid at home,
Mhm.
or if your kid is in public school and you have a designated day, like during this day we're doing this through bath time, we're doing this because like I have different bath activities that parents can do, for younger children, because
Yes.
that's what I kind of do with my kids. She has learned so much during bath time because that's something we're already doing, so
Yeah.
let's make it fun and
Yeah.
educational.
Yes.
But that's really, it's kind of what excites me. And even on the summit, so I was really excited when we linked up, is just knowing that parents want to make a difference in their child's life and they're willing to make a difference, whether it's I still want to take ownership while and send my kid to back into the school system,
Mhm.
but now I know my role as a parent.
Yeah. So
Because I
true.
think that may be one thing that was kind of lost, just with over time,
Yeah.
with
Busyness. Busy.
busyness. Yes, I
Mhm.
like busyness.
Yeah.
And now parents are able to kind of reshift and get that role back when
Yeah.
it comes to their child and education.
Yeah.
And then even if they're, homeschool allows you to have that time, but even if you're homeschooling, okay, what are ways that I can make this a lasting memory for my child? Because my child's only going to remember what I make fun for
Mhm.
them.
Do you homeschool, or is your daughter still young to
She's actually in like a private Christian school, because I do work full time at
Yes.
an elementary school.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I'm in public school system
Yeah.
as is. So I'm an administrator there. So yeah, she goes to school.
Mm-hmm.
But I researched the school she's at because they do like it's an early preschool. So they do the Becca curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I know like the Becca curriculum, it's really big on like phonemic awareness and dealing with letter sounds, and then phonics, but it does have some flaws within it. So then I supplement
Mm.
at home with what she's lacking. But she literally is ahead because they were trying to figure out if they were gonna um, pretty much promote her in like last January, or if she should just stay. But we decided for her to stay only because she would end up repeating third, not third, yeah, the 3-year-old in preschool
Mm.
because of her birthday.
Mm.
So it was like if she has to repeat the 3-year-old room or pre-K, it was either one or the other. Then what was the point of advancing her now?
Mm.
So yeah, so she does the curriculum that's a year ahead with the backup, but I would love to maybe one day experience homeschool
Mm.
because I am an educator, so I do understand the standards. I do, know how to teach it. But it's one thing that I've always thought about.
Mm.
I'm just I've been in the public school. I've been in Title I schools for over a decade. So that's kind of like where I am right now in my life,
Yeah.
trying to give back to those kids.
What works for you, right? At this point. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe later one day.
Yes, once YouTube kicks off, because I do have a passion for leaving public school system. I feel like I have done my part.
Yes.
And so like moving on to the YouTube and content creating, that is really what I'm passionate about right now. And I kind of see my life shifting more
Because
towards that.
when you do that, you can escape that blame game, because no matter how you're part of that system, unless this, as you said, that is our dream, right? To get rid of that blame game. Maybe COVID can do it. Maybe that was the plan. Who knows, right? Who knows the plan is? But more than that, it is kind of that is always there. So you can do way more outside of it, I feel. Anyway, like that's
Mhm.
because you just have this uh, no one is there's no one to blame if anything happens in your own YouTube world where you're teaching. It's the only you, right? You know what I mean? There is no
Right,
administration, there is no another teacher. You're the
right,
one, right? So you can deliver. If you have a mission, if you have a passion, you can actually go for it and teach it
right,
that way, right? And for me it's math, right? Like I can do it the way it's supposed to be taught to my students, and they get it,
right.
and they're like, wow,
Hmm.
that was so easy. Why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it? And then right, when they say that, you can see